Josh Giddey joins elite territory twice after yesterday's win. We're going to talk about both the accolades he recently reached and why Josh Giddey is showing himself to be more than just a part of the Chicago Bulls' future. He's showing himself to be one of the core of the Chicago Bulls' future. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Bulls being on the verge of clinching a home playing game for the first time. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And Josh Giddey is killing it right now. Like, you look at yesterday's game, and Josh Giddey was such an important part of when the Bulls finally made that move in that game. You look at about 4.5 minutes left in that second quarter. The Bulls went on a crazy 20-plus run, and Josh Giddey was at the heart of that. He scored 10 points over that run, and then he reached some accolades that you just cannot ignore. And Josh Giddey, the second half of the season for Giddey has been such a revelation for any, of people still holding out doubt, right? Now, there's still going to be some people that have some trepidation, that has some pause in regards to, if wondering if this is what Josh Giddey's now going to be permanently, but when you look at the post-All-Star break, the pre-All-Star break numbers, they're night and day, really, when it comes down to Josh Giddey. Post-All-Star break, 12.2 points per game, 34% shooting from three-point range, 44% shooting from the field, 7.1 rebounds, 6.1 assists, 1 steal per game. You look at now post-All-Star break, 21 points per game. He's doing that on 50% shooting from the field, 45% shooting from three, 10.7 rebounds per game, 9.3 assists per game, steal and a half per game, and almost a block per game. Josh Giddey's not only being efficient, but he's doing it at the right time. And if you watch these games and see the ebb and flow of these games, you'll see that Josh Giddey's stepping up when the Bulls need it the most right now. Now, I mean, nothing's perfect. No player is, and he misses some shots at times. But even the defense, right? That's something we talked about over on Locked On Bulls. And I think that Pat himself is a big indicator on how the swing around Josh Giddey is gone. Like, I remember, people sending us mailbags here, right, in regards to Pat's take on Josh Giddey and the fact that even when Josh Giddey first initially started playing good, Pat was a big doubter. We had Pat on yesterday's episode of Locked On Bulls saying that Josh Giddey is the player you build around going forward. Like that's the type of that's the way that Josh Giddey's play has really turned some Bulls fans around on him, right? Not to say that Pat is all Bulls fans or, is the shining example of all Bulls fans, but I do think that says a lot about what he's been able to do as far as Josh Giddey coming in here and just playing much better. So, and he joined elite territory yesterday twice, right? Everybody's kind of now talked about the fact that Josh Giddey's joined LeBron James and Nikola Jokic as the only three players now that have scored 1,000 points with 500 rebounds and 500 assists. That's amazing, right, when it comes down to it. And then when you factor in as well, when you include the 2 steals and 3 blocks, that puts him alongside Larry Bird and Giannis Antetokounmpo as players to only ever have 28 points, 16 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks in a game. The only one. Had he hit another three-pointer, he would have been the only player to do that with a 31-point game. Josh Giddey it's not just a flash in the pan, right? This has been legit, and this has been who Josh Giddey's been over months. There's still some doubters, and that's fine. There's always going to still be some, right, that look at what Josh Giddey's done, and they try to say, well, it's happened at a time where other teams aren't trying. And to me, when I hear people say that and use that reasoning, it just tells me that you don't really watch basketball games. Because if you watch the way that people are competing in these games, it's not like they're just showing up and we're facing off against the teams back end and G League players every single game. Like, it's honestly reached a point to where it's like people just want to find a reason to not believe in what Josh Giddey's doing or to lessen what he's doing. Now, I've said it before. I've said it myself multiple times. I need to see Josh Giddey and how he's going to start off next season before I say a lot, right? But I like to deny what you're seeing, at least at the end of the season. Like, there's still people that's trying to make it seem like this run at the end of the season is lessened. Like, you can say, hey, I have my doubts if he can do this for a full season. Yeah, that stat line's ridiculous. Anybody should have doubts that somebody's going to be able to do that for a full season. And that three-point shooting may not maintain, but the way that he's scoring, like, Josh Giddey's absolutely a player that can average around 50% shooting from the field because of the way and where he gets his points and how efficient he's getting. You've seen him hit spin moves to create layup in space and things like that. He's taking players off the dribble and using his size and the shoulders to get past people. Like, these are things that are sustainable, right? Unless teams start switching a three on him for the bigger size to where he doesn't have the size advantage over guards. But at that point in time, the Bulls can play the mismatch, right? If you put a three on Josh Giddey, it means you're putting either a point guard or a shooting guard over on Modest Bucilis or Kevin Huerter, right? One of those two guys, you got to try to put the other player on. And with both their ability to shoot over players, both their ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim too, like, that's going to be that could turn into a matchup in favor of the Bulls. And keep in mind, in Josh Giddey's perfect world, he's setting up players more than he's scoring himself too. So, like, you could be playing into his best skill set then, which is creating for others, right? So it's what Josh Giddey's done here. And we talked about the article he had with Joe Cowley in which he talked about he wants redemption. But he's talked about playoff redemption, and that's great. But the redemption here with Bulls fans has been tremendous to see from one Josh Giddey. And so, take all the accolades out the way. Right now, when it was DeMar hitting accolades that hadn't been done in a while, everybody celebrated it, things like that. But even if you want to take the accolades out the way, when you look at the game of basketball and just watch how Josh Giddey plays and performs that game of basketball, it's been tremendous to see, right? And yesterday's game was a big, important part because that was an important game for the Chicago Bulls, right? They rested their starters so that they can play more and be prepared more in that game. And so, and Josh Giddey was a big part of the engine that helped that thing go for the Chicago Bulls, man. It was him. And listen, the thing that was beautiful about it yesterday is everybody had their place, right? Kevin Huerter, when Josh Giddey nor Coby were really scoring well, Kevin Huerter was one of the players that helped keep the Bulls in that game, right? And to say that, to act like he didn't, you just be blind to the facts. Yeah, Kevin Huerter played a big role in that. Coby, down the stretch of that game, 12 of his 18 points came in the fourth quarter of that game. Nikola Jokić hit big shots in that game. So there are a lot of players that contributed to the Bulls and what they were able to do in that. The Bulls went on a 16-6 run led by Kevin Huerter, right? Then later on in that game, in the end of the second quarter, they went on a 20-6 run led by Josh Giddey and Nikola Jokić, right? And it's those type of things that you're seeing, and we've talked about it before. Like, Josh Giddey is still accounting for such a large part of the Bulls' offense. Like, you look at yesterday, it was 53 points from Josh Giddey alone, right? 28 scored, and then he created the rest coming off of 25 off his assist. That's not something that everybody is doing, right? So Josh Giddey is definitely, I've been saying it, he's definitely been the engine to this offense, and the way that him and Coby White have continued to figure it out together, right? And Coby, who didn't, bad shooting night, 0 for 6 in the first half of that game yesterday, but I would say he made some really good playmaking choices and decisions yesterday. And then he started getting to the free throw line, and then he worked himself into rhythm, had a 12-point fourth quarter where we needed every single one of those points. So, I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it multiple times when it comes down to it. Josh Giddey is, if you are still a Josh Giddey hater, if that's still who you are at this point in time, I mean, hats off to you if that's still what you want to do at this point. But you look at the way that Josh Giddey has gotten players involved in this game, and he's been such a key part in that. His Nikola Jokić, 134 assists to Nikola Jokić on the season so far. 134 assists to your big man. You know what? You want your point guard to do that. If the Bulls go out and get the athletic big man we all see could fit and help this team so much, imagine that. Imagine a guy like Asa Newell catching lobs from a guy like Josh Giddey, right? 50 assists to Coby White, right? And keep 56 assists, to Coby White. Like, these are the things that we're seeing here, man. And, like, I get it. It is what it is if you want to doubt and things like that. But at this point, I'm not there anymore, man. Like, I had my doubts about Josh Giddey in the beginning of the season, but Josh Giddey's turned himself into such an important part of this Bulls team. And when you look at his passing chart, that's like as a point guard, the passing chart of Josh Giddey is exactly what you want to see a passing chart be. 40 assists to Modest Bucilis, 54 assists to Zach LaVine in only half a season, 27 to Patrick Williams, 33 to Jalen Smith, 38 to Ayo Dosunmu, 28 to Kevin Huerter. Like, he's out there distributing the basketball and getting everybody involved, and this whole team is, right? That's one thing about the identity of this team is that everybody's getting involved and everybody is getting is having their own place into what the Bulls are trying to do. And we just got to keep that up, man. So hats off to Josh Giddey and what he's been able to accomplish with this Bulls team. Hopefully at some point, Bulls fans all universally come around, because as it stands right now, Josh Giddey's not only your point guard of the present, he's your point guard of the future. And Josh Giddey shaped up to get paid. That $30 million, if that's really what Josh Giddey wants, and even if he comes in and he gives us next season 80% of what he's given us post All-Star break, just 80% of what he's given us, that's still one of the best point guards in the game of basketball. And if you see otherwise than that, you're just caught up in narrative. You're not in the reality of what he's out here doing. But with that said, right, moving on from that, the Bulls are on the verge. They are extremely close to clinching a home court game in the play-in tournament, in that 9th seed, right? They gained, of course, a game up on the Miami Heat. They're only a half game back of the Atlanta Hawks. And we'll see where the Bulls shake. Now, the lottery odds, they've gone down to 12th. It is what it is there. We'll see how that ends up shaking out for the Chicago Bulls. But, you know, the word coming out of everybody, it just makes sense, right? Josh Giddey, who we're just talking about, said this. We knew coming into the game the implications that a win or loss had. Obviously, happy with the win, but we can't look too far ahead. We've got 2 games to go. I don't know how far we can move up or down or what the situation looks like, but we're trying not to concern ourselves too much with it. Playing one game at a time, and we'll see where we end up after 82 games. And that just shows, again, this team is focused on winning, putting it all on their shoulders and going out there and winning basketball games. Billy Donovan said this as well. It's an advantage if you play well. It's not an advantage if you don't play well, which, hey, shout out to Billy Donovan for simplifying all of this as far as when it comes down to home court advantage. We're going to keep going. You want to be able to play at home, but not at the same point too. If it doesn't happen, you've got to play well against a good team, whoever it may be, because we're all bunched up. Probably the next couple of games will shake out how this will all pan out, but you always want to have a home game, and having a home game, you're going to have to play well at home. And that's where it comes down for the Bulls at, right? The Bulls are 20-20 on the road, 500 record on the road. They're 17-23 at home, right? So trying to play for a home court game in the play-in tournament could be a bit of a risk, right? Now, the Bulls have been much better since the All-Star break, so we can't, hopefully that keeps up and maintains. But it'd really suck if the Bulls did all this and then ended up losing their home playing game and getting eliminated from the play-in. Now, it won't take away from what we've done on the back half of the season. I know some people are going to try to say that. If for some reason the Bulls do lose a home game in the play-in and don't make it into the playoffs, you're going to have your naysayers that are like, oh, well, see, this is why we shouldn't have done any of this. But growth, right? I've said it a long time ago. The Bulls picked development over tanking. That was the choice that they made, is to develop the young talent that they have here, see what they have in these guys, and do it the right way by competing to win every single game that they've been in, right? But, and I think that's where the thing goes right now, right? The Bulls, if they finish 9th, right, will have to play the Miami Heat. This is what it is. It's like we're destined to do this every single year until this point, until one team finally, gets a better path, is that it's always the Miami Heat. That's always who we face off against the play-in. For the last couple of years, they've eliminated us. We're trying to avoid that now this season, right? Kevin Huerter said this. The confidence is high. We're playing good basketball, but we're most likely probably going to see this team right back here in a week. We've got to take care of business the last 2. See if we can get some help, and Atlanta can lose a game for us. If not, we'll be ready to play Miami again. That part right there. Ready to play Miami again. And that's what this team has done. They're trying to put themselves in a position to play and compete in every game. I get it that this season has not gone the way that a lot of Bulls fans wanted it to go. And seeing the Bulls tank, get the best pick, it is what it is. They picked their path a long time ago. The Bulls sit right now at 37 wins. And I did say early into the season, if the Bulls were able to finish with the same record as last year after going younger, and that was when Zach LaVine was still on this team, and it be because of the younger players of why you got there, hey, listen, I'm all for it. And I'm not going to move off that statement now just because the lottery odds are there. Right now, that also was I said that at a time where we didn't know if the Bulls would even keep their pick. Now that the Bulls do have their pick outright, and in the future as well, I mean, it is what it is. You're going to have to identify talent. There's going to be some talent later in the draft, whether it's Rasheer Fleming, TJ Toppin, Danny Wolf, whoever it ends up being, right? And the Bulls got to hope that they can develop that talent as best they can. It is what it is. But there's something about the way that this team has been competing. It's something about the way that this team has been going out there and putting it all out on the basketball court. It's something about all of that. And that's what you're seeing from this team right now. You're seeing a team that's fighting. You're seeing a team that's competed. You're seeing a team that's leaving it all out there on the court. And I just don't understand why there aren't more Bulls fans that are aboard on this, right? You still get your trepidation. And this is the type of team we typically love in Chicago. And it came down to people had their expectations of this season wrapped around lottery odds. That's what they did. I care more about the basketball that I'm seeing than lottery odds, right? And, everybody has their own enjoyment. Everybody has their reasons. There's some valid reasons why people look at it the way they do. I'm not trying to act like they're just crazy people for feeling how they're feeling. That's not what I'm trying to say here, right? But the fact is that this team and the way they are competing right now, I'm all aboard. They won me over. And it is what it is when it comes down to that. Now, before we go, one thing that I like to do is be a narrative buster, right? There's been a lot of Bulls fans over the last couple of days since the Mike Malone firing. There's even an article out, I can't remember which site it was written by, that had the Bulls as the odds-on favorite to land Nikola Jokic. Now, listen, would I love Jokic on this team? Absolutely. He's a generational player. He's a perennial MVP candidate, and he's one of the best players in the game of basketball, period, right? That is who he is. Now, the Bulls, their chances of really getting a player like Jokic, if the Nuggets, whoever their new GM is, they decide to do a complete pivot, which I don't think they're doing. That's another thing. I don't think they're doing all this to try to move Jokic. I think they're doing all of it because they do want new eyes on the roster. They want a new makeup of the roster, but I still think they're going to be building this thing around Jokic. But even if they were to, the amount of calls that they would get from teams with way more draft picks, way more young talent that they'd be willing to give up that aren't on as big of a deals than what the Chicago Bulls can offer for Nikola Jokic. And listen, every time something pops up, whether it's Sabonis or Giannis or KD and all this stuff, and we got a narrative bust, like the Chicago Bulls are not getting Nikola Jokic. It's not happening. And I don't want to hear, can you say that, Haize? The Lakers got Luka Doncic. Yeah, they're the Los Angeles Lakers, right? And they ran into the one stupid GM in the league that decided not to start a bidding war and went with one of the first deals, so much so that the GM of the Lakers was like, wait, you serious? So let's not act like all of a sudden that becomes a standard, right? We're still a team that, while a lot of teams around the NBA have changed their head coach, we've held on to our head coach. I get it. I understand it. I understand the desire to have Jokic here, absolutely. And if some way AK does something completely unexpected and swings a move for Nikola Jokic of all players, I'll be one of the first guys here to tell you, all right, AK, you did something here. But that does not make it likely just because it's something that's desirable and they change their head coach and GM. That's not what happens here, right? So, we'll see what happens. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I look at it and say this. The chances of the Bulls making a swing for any star-level player, much less a superstar, are very, very slim when you look at the assets that we have. Yeah, the Bulls do have cap space coming up, and hopefully they use that smartly, whether it's to absorb other players' bad contracts and get some picks out of it, or it's to fill this team out with veterans to help support what we're doing here, or take a swing at a restricted free agent that could come in and help this team. No matter what it ends up being in that case, cool, great. I'm all good with that. But Nikola Jokic is not coming to the Chicago Bulls, people. It's not happening, y'all. I would love for it to happen. It's not happening. Now, maybe that's me safeguarding my feelings a little bit, but we'll end up seeing what goes down here. Can we appreciate for once that we got a young team that's actually playing well together and growing? Can we appreciate that before we start turning this into how we can superstar chase? Can we do that for a little bit? Just a little bit, please. Please, for the love of God. All right, that's my time for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys as well for tuning in to the live watch parties that we've been doing over the last couple of games. I don't know if we'll do it for the Washington Wizards game. I don't know if we'll do it for the season finale against Philly. Maybe I'll do it in the second half of the game, but we'll definitely be doing it for the playing games. Make no mistake about that, which I think next Tuesday will be the 7-8 matchups, and then I think either Thursday or Friday Wednesday or Thursday will be the play-in matchups, the 8-10, the 9-10 play-in matchups. So we'll see where the Bulls end up shaking out with that. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.